Yeah, you would have seen on mine. And I went through, by the way.
Are you up? No.
Jackie, we're up.
Okay. Everyone, please take your seat and come to order. Okay, we're out of executive session. Debate's been closed. Please find your seat and grab your voting device.
Are you ready?
Right. Okay, we'll open voting now. Press 1A for yes, 2B for no, or 3C to abstain. The vote threshold is 3/5, so it would be 39 votes to pass the resolution. Go to the other screen. Lucas, Karen
Marshall,
Kiko, Morgan, Linda.
Morgan is still gone.
Linda Hogue? Yeah, Morgan's out. So we're good? You have everybody? Okay, voting will close in 3, 2, 1. Voting's closed. The vote is 57 ayes, 5 nays, 1 abstention. The motion passes. Can you guys do me a favor? Raise your hands if you have to check out of your room. Okay. We'll stand at ease for 10 minutes, or let's do 12 minutes and reconvene at 12:15, and then we'll get going again. So be back here at 12:15, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay up there, and I need this finalized.
Grab Scott. Are you checking out?
I'm checking out. Goodbye. Have fun. That was crazy.
Give me a hug.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you want to see? I got it. Yeah.
Who did I give this to?
Well, Scott, because he's got your proxy now, right?
So does Scott have it? Scott takes it?
Yeah.
Just put it in here. I would say. I wouldn't say which Was it a 2/3 vote in the other counties? Was it a 2/3 vote? No, it's not. Because we were only voting to
I was asking remind everyone to leave your clickers at your seat. Leave your clickers at your seat.
All right.
We're doing official copy of the revise because this is so sensitive. So I'm deleting that. Dashes. Okay. We took out the secondary amendment that would have taken more words out, so I can ignore that now. Yep. We inserted Arion. Okay, so we inserted that. We're adding the whereas in yellow. So that is getting underlined and unyellowed. And that one's done. We have semicolon, colon for a list. Yeah. No, that's on purpose. Because those are the principles.
Oh, gotcha.
I wondered if I should italicize that or do something to. But we couldn't figure out a way to do it, so. And that's got semicolon.
Do you want me to do like 3 parentheses? And does that maybe make it stand out a little bit so it's not just like the one number part?
I can do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I could do that. That's better.
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of that? Semicolon. Semicolon, and that's part of. Semicolon there. No, we didn't do it here, so we're just not. Okay. This gets I know this shortcut now. Okay, and deleting this. Semicolon and penalties : 1, 2, semicolon and that's the end of the quote. Should I move that over to? No, because that's still part of that.
It's part of the text. Yeah.
Okay, now, therefore, be it resolved, and that, and be it further resolved, end of resolution. Yep. And check my commas on whereases, comma.
How are you doing?
Comma. Now, and be it further resolved. Yep. Are you happy?
Can I see the vote number?
Yes.
Just when people ask me stuff, I saw a couple of times that I can use as examples, like giving this person a vote.
So let me actually just make a list, and that way if
Give me the 5 minutes.
I'm taking off. I'll holler at you.
Yeah, let's talk to them.
Yeah, sure. Take care. Thanks. Oh, and don't spend our $8,000.
Oh, I've already done it. So Fairbrother Proxy, that was yeah, Fernando's Oh, he didn't. Yeah, it wasn't Dick.
Morgan is the non-vote. There's an abstention also.
Yeah, there's a recorded abstention.
I'm the recording.
Okay.
Yes, that's weird.
She's waiting to find out the names. I gotta get the president's down and stuff on it, and then
virtual days that we can get.
Here's Google address.
For which one?
The official that we have. Thank you. I appreciate you. You are free to use this text.
Email Word, the doc is fine if you want to.
Oh God. Good to see you. Good to see you, Alpha.
That's fine, whatever you want to do.
I just want to know who the 5 that voted no. I want to know which counties those are. I don't have to know who they are. I just need to know.
No, thank you.
Realized that those were not our technical nodes. Not
Yeah,
really,
I
they're
know.
not really.
I know that they're probably concerned about, yes.
They're concerned about little details.
Yes, yes. Well, when they get down and they live down there where I live, those little details become
Oh, I
blurred.
understand. And if it was really, I know at least 2 of them. If it wasn't actually, they're really.
And what would hurt
They
us
might have
is,
changed their mind.
yeah, it's the ones
They knew
along
it
the
was
border.
okay.
Yeah, along the border, those are the ones that,
No,
like, you know, the El Paso area down to the McAllen, Brownsville area, those are the crucial ones. I know that they voted for it.
the ones that I know of were are very fortunate.
Yeah. I live a lot of those really gated communities.
Yeah. I almost live in Arkansas.
Oh, hey.
Hey, how are you, son?
Okay, I'm in the middle of a lot.
I know. I just wanted to see who were the 5 that voted against it. Not that. I just want to know where they live, the areas.
Okay, give me a couple
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. I really appreciate this. This means a lot because we work very hard. We want to send a message as grassroots. We want to send a message to
Right,
that you can't be running under our banner and not support the plans.
right, right.
So, excuse me for 1 second, James. I'm sending this to Matt, Dana, Rachel, John, Jen, you, Chad, Scott, Steve Evans, and me. Am I forgetting anybody?
I don't think so. We can pick them up later. The main thing for me is get this message
I know.
out. They're already.
I did check with you before. I know.
All right.
You have done so. You have done so.
You are free to share this. I'm just going to leave this here, covering up my other notes.
That's where I'm getting lost. Right, right.
So they may have had me expedition, but question stinks. No, you're just talking.
You're right. One place I found it says the word
Anybody wants to photograph this? Not my other notes, but just the names.
Cover it all.
No, they're welcome to get that.
No.
Yeah.
And that is explained over in this other section.
Yeah, this is good. Last session, I was
So there are exhibitions. What's the status of member?
Chairman.
Green soda. Stevia is sugar-free. And stevia is the best soda.
Francisco wants to know the markup.
Fairbrother, Proxy, Tully, Duncan,
Quater, Trevino, Proxy.
Trevino, Proxy, and Whiting. That's what executive session is. All right, find your seats, please. Thank you. We are next. Call upon Steve Evans once he finishes chewing to present the report of the Rules Committee.
Thank you, Don Rinaldi. Before I deliver the report, just to stall for a few seconds while everybody gets back in the room again, I want to recognize an individual who contributes a large amount of time to these meetings, stays up late, serves as secretary and minute keeper and transcriptionist on many of our committees, and puts in a great deal more work than we do. Virgil Cruz, thank you very much. Members, we've got one change to state party rules and one change to the supplemental rules, our supplemental rules. Presented by Matt Patrick, a change to rule number 8. Do we have that available?
I'm multitasking, Steve.
Okay. This would be an addition to rule number 8F. And what the rule would do is prevent executive committee meetings from being held on top of each other. It would require a 2-day gap in between meetings, with the exception of emergency meetings to conduct statutory business such as ballot replacements or things like that our county chair needs to do expeditiously. This is was offered up by Matt Patrick. Mr. Chairman, I move adoption.
There's been a motion to adopt the rule that's up on the screen. Is there any, you don't need a second. Is there any debate?
A point of order, Mr. Chairman. I believe this rule adoption would violate 1C of the RPT rules. 1C defines 4 reasons that we could crack into the rules between convention. We are taking the voice of the convention and all the people that are here, myself included, who worked on those rules, and we're changing it here. I don't believe that it achieves that threshold that's set by 1C.
Under Rule 1C, what's that? It's 1C. Yeah, under Rule 1C, There's 4 reasons why we can amend,
Yes,
not
sir.
in convention. The 4th reason is technical inconsistencies or defects. This is arguably, by its proponents, a defect in the rules that causes chaos in the committees. Therefore, the point of order is overruled.
Then I move substitution for this language then, and I've already turned it into Mr. Cruz.
Okay, there's been a move to amend.
And Dwayne, you want to substitute the entire green, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does he want to do? He wants to do that for the green.
Amend by substitution.
Amend by substitution.
Scratch out. Put something.
So it would remove what we're doing in green and I'm going to say meeting. Can I say meeting instead of one?
Yes, yes, sir.
Dwayne Wright, he's a proxy for Fairbrother.
Okay. Do you have it up or no?
It's up.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Cheryl.
No.
Do you want to speak in favor?
Yes, sir. The genesis of this started back with Galveston County and Chairman Paul Gustafson, and there was overlap of meetings, and that's what the attempt here is to fix the overlap of meetings. What happened was you had a chair that for whatever reason couldn't call a meeting, so the precinct chairs or a section of the precinct chairs could call a meeting. This was generated because everybody wanted to call a meeting. We had different factions within the party wanting to call meetings. Effectively, this would not be workable. 20% of a CEC are able to call a meeting in Montgomery County. We all know this is a Montgomery County thing. So that effectively means 6 meetings could be called and be correct because you have 20% of the chairs and the county chair that could call a meeting. This supplies a 4-day buffer, 2 before and 2 after. If 6 people, and you have monthly meetings, if 6 people call a meeting and there's a 4-day buffer, you've got 24 days a month that you're not allowed to meet according to this. It's just not workable. The whole intent of why it was put into place was for if a chair fails to call a meeting. Now we've gotten to the point where everybody wants to call a meeting. I call it like the quick draw meeting rule. Whoever's the first one to call a meeting gets the priority. And it should be if the county chair does call a meeting, that should take priority, and that's why this language.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Please state your point of order.
Last point of order and against further consideration, as if adopted, this rule would put a conflict in county executive committee bylaws, as many bylaws allow the precinct chairs the right to call a meeting. This would indicate that only the county chair could call a meeting, and if the executive committee, precinct chairs, steering committee, or any other committee defined in the CEC bylaws had the right to call a meeting, the chair could always trump that. That's not the spirit of allowing precinct chairs to call a meeting. They're allowed to call a meeting when the chair won't.
So what's your the authority for your point of order?
The point of order is this bylaw would be in conflict with county executive committee bylaws and would further complicate the matter.
This is defined as multiple.
You don't get to argue by point of order, sir.
I tried.
Okay, that's an argument against it. I'm not seeing the point of order.
Anytime you violate a bylaw or attempt to violate a bylaw with another one, it would be out of order. For instance, if we tried to craft a rule that was directly against the law, forcing us to break the law, that would be out of order. We would be forcing a county executive committee, we would put their rules in jeopardy because it would violate the ability of the precinct chairs or any other entity that could properly construe a meeting by allowing the chair to overrule that. We don't have the authority to do that, therefore it would be out of order for us to adopt this rule.
Everything up till that last sentence I completely agree with, so overruled.
Hey, Matt, appeal it.
Does anyone want to speak against, other than Steve?
Matt Patrick, SC16. I'm an author of the original resolution. I'm speaking against this. The gentleman that proposed this is making reference to things that happened in Galveston County some time ago. I don't know what happened in Galveston County. This is not about that. So why he's bringing that into this as a rationale for this change makes no sense to me. And what to reiterate what he's doing, there's a flaw even in the language that he is saying, because he's presuming that multiple county meetings that might be called, one of them will be by the chairman, one of them may not be by the chairman. And actually who calls the meeting doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in my resolution. I don't do anything to prevent the county chair from calling a meeting. And it is in Roberts, and we debated this heavily yesterday. Whoever calls a meeting, the county chair always is the presiding officer. So trying to say, put this in to try to say that the meeting called by the county chair is the one makes no difference. It's doesn't actually conflict with what will happen practically in the rule that we approved through the Rules Committee yesterday. So I move that we say no to this and move forward with the proposal that was adopted and approved by the Rules Committee.
Anyone else want to speak on the amendment? Hearing none. Oh, you already spoke on the amendment. Do you have anything else?
Well, it's going to be approved inquiry, but we obviously need to do something in our rules, because when we have more than one precinct chair serving in a position, there's a hole. There's a gap. So we need to address that. But no, I have a point of inquiry. Adding, can I do both? No. No. Okay. Well,
I think you're doing a great job speaking against it. Let's keep going.
Okay. Well, in a minute, maybe. Let me have that. One.
Just keep going.
Okay. The statutory, I need it. Is that not a conflict? So this is.
Your mic needs.
So I just need an explanation, if I could, on statutory. Would that not be a conflict of what the meeting would be called for?
Okay.
So that's just, I mean, I'm talking about striking statutory. So whatever reason the meeting was called, so whatever.
Are you talking about the substitute?
Right. In the bill, in the resolution itself, where it says.
Well, we're on the motion to substitute right now.
Okay, welcome.
Okay. Steve.
Mr. Chairman, I rise against this. Steve Evans, ST28. Mr. Chairman, I rise against this motion to substitute. What it does is just undoes what we were trying to do. I could almost make an argument that it's out of order, so if you just vote down the amendment, it has the same effect. What this does is reinforces the ability of the county chair to call a meeting, and then another faction of the county to call a meeting too, on top of each other. Now we're giving preference to just the county chairman's meeting. Now the county chairman could turn around and call a meeting on top of the committee that properly construed a meeting, which we protected the right of them to do that and the right for them to execute their county party bylaws in the original amendment. So I'm going to ask you to vote this down, and let's consider the amendment. It was very thoughtfully considered.
Sure.
Cheryl Thompson Draper, SD 18, and also county chair for Lavaca County. Near and dear to my heart, I think the county chairman is supposed to call the meetings. I think the county chairman should be running the meetings and not precinct chairs running the meetings. So I am for the amendment to the rule.
Point of order. We have our modified plan of
Can you go up to the mic?
David Wiley, SD 12, point of order. Under our modified rules of the day for discussion today, have we reached the amendment discussion limits?
Yeah. Information. Sue, again, go ahead.
Point of information, please, Mr.
I
Chairman.
don't think anyone wants to hear any more argument on it anyway, so.
Point of information, if this was adopted, would it not then also be in violation of Rule 1C? Because there is no emergency that would require an adoption of something like this, and it would therefore be out of order.
You violate 1C, I violate 2.
So are you calling a point of order, or are you?
I'm asking for a point of information. I'm asking for information from the chair that if this was adopted, would it not then be in violation of Rule 1C?
If an amendment to the rules creates a rule that, if a proposed amendment to the rule creates a rule that would render the rule out of order, then yes, the amendment should be out of order.
Thank you. I believe it's out of order.
Are you calling a point of order? Or you just let everybody know?
Now that I have the information from the chair, yes, I'm raising the point of order that this is out of order because it would not meet the requirements of Rule 1C.
Your point of order is sustained. Back to the original amendment. Anyone want to speak in favor of the rules amendment or against? Scott.
Scott Bowen, SC6. Speaking in favor of this, I think this is an emergency situation, and it is a glaring flaw in our rules that it is possible for two different entities within a county executive committee to call a meeting on the same day in different places. Can you imagine actually being a precinct chair in one of these counties, trying to figure out which meeting you're supposed to go to, which meeting is the real one? Oh, they're both real ones. Which one can transact businesses? We're about to get to the point where they have to do statutory business. They have to call and convention business. They have to call Senate district conventions. They have to call their Senate districts in Montgomery County. They have to elect Senate district chairs. They have to call precinct conventions. They have to nominate delegates to conventions. This mess is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it can happen anywhere. So this is a flaw in our rules that we can solve. We need to solve. It's neutral to anybody. It doesn't give preference to any faction. It's just solving a problem that needs to be solved, and we need to do it now, and I think this is an excellent way to do it.
Yes, Mr. Wright.
I'd like to speak against this Dwayne Wright SD5. I also am a county chairman. I do not know one single, there may be, but I don't know one single county chairman that supports this. And part of the reason is what happens with what a county chair's job is and the scope of what they do. We have state mandated deadlines throughout the year, throughout the election cycles. This right here puts a moratorium on when a chair is allowed to call a meeting. Even if your county meets one time a month, okay, then you've gotten 48 days a month. If somebody else calls a meeting, the chair can't call a meeting. That's 13% of all available days for the year that the chair is no longer allowed to call a meeting if a faction calls a meeting. So it's very convoluted. It was a local problem, and I guarantee that local problem will continue. This will not fix anything locally. And now we're going to make a statewide, broad brush approach when we should be in a convention hammering this out throughout the week to get this fixed properly. I see where there could be an issue, but this right here is going to cause more damage than good. So I vote against it.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The gentleman's argument is ludicrous, quite frankly, because all you have to do if you're the county chair and someone calls the meeting is do your duty and go to the meeting and share the stinking meeting. It's not that hard to understand. So you can certainly attend the meeting. If you're managing yourself properly and you're managing your affairs of the county properly, there is no reason that you won't be able to call meetings whenever you want, and schedule sufficient meetings to take care of all the county's business under the rule.
Kristen?
Well, I have a point of inquiry. Does this apply to subcommittee meetings? Are you sure?
It is not intended to apply to subcommittee meetings.
Does that need to be specified in the language?
Yeah. Our rules don't, order please. Our rules don't establish subcommittee meetings. Those are recognized under the county bylaws, so it would not apply.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'm against this. Cheryl Thompson Draper, SD 18. I am against the, it's not an amendment, it's the rule, right? We're not working on his.
Nope.
Okay, thought so. I am against the green up here. I am, unless you can put something in there that states what Mr. Patrick said about the county chairman is the one to run the second meeting that shows up by precinct chairs, to make it real sure everybody knows in Montgomery County and all across the state that it's the county chair that runs the meeting, even if the precinct chairs call meetings for 40, however many days a month you said. I'm in a little county. I have 11 precincts. Montgomery County's huge. Harris is huge. The issues are totally different. But whatever you change here for Montgomery County changes everything for the other 253 counties across the state that may not have anything to do with that. I really believe somehow in here we need to put that the county chair will run the meetings, whatever meetings they are. That may not be worded correctly, but that's my thought.
Steve.
Mr. Chairman, Steve Evans, SD 28, I rise in support of this. Members, most of you know I am vehemently against modifying the work of the convention unless we absolutely have to. There's been some times where we needed to, and I believe that as much as I'm resistant to modifying our bylaws, I think this is very needed. To answer the other member's question, Roberts is quite clear. The presiding officer of a deliberative assembly is the presiding officer is the presiding officer. They have a right to show up and gather that meeting no matter what. We don't need to state that because that is absolute fact. They are the presiding officer of that county executive committee. Roberts also presides a procedure. If the chair does not or vacates or does not handle the business, you can remove them if you need to. The rules are there. I don't think we need to define it anymore here to make it, just to bring it out of another book and onto this page. I believe that talking to county chairs, and yes, I am a past county chair, that the other than for statutory business gives you the right, if you need to call an emergency meeting to do a ballot replacement that could be time sensitive, or any other statutory business, you're able to do that and not worry about the two-day rule. This is to prevent dueling counties and dueling CECs from calling meetings simply to overthrow the other. And it's not just Montgomery County this is happening in. This is happening in multiple counties. And as much as I appreciate my TRCCA colleague, Dwayne, and appreciate he shares the same reservations about modifying our rules, I do believe this is very needed to try to help work some of these county problems out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Thank you. Deborah?
SD7, Deborah Fight. We'll try this again. I'm for the amendment because...
Are you speaking?
I'm speaking for. Because we have seen counties that have duplicate precinct chairs for the same position. And since the precinct chair must be, the SOS must be notified of a duly elected precinct chair, if we have this rule, it will prevent someone from calling a meeting within that 7 days and electing another precinct chair, because if we don't, if there's a way that we can have more than one precinct chair serving in the same position, this could blow up throughout all counties, and then we're going to have a total mess. So in lieu of what, it's not just Montgomery County, it's every county. And so if this would prevent that, and that's what I'm seeing here, is that it could prevent it, then I think that's a good stopgap.
Okay, that's 5-4 if there's no one speaking against. We'll take a vote now. Debate will be closed. Please use your voting buttons. Vote 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for abstain. And voting will close. Jerry, Bruce, 5, 4, 3, 2. Jerry, you voting? 1. And voting's closed. The motion passes. The rules adopted 51-8 with 4 abstentions. Next.
Mr. Chairman, the next amendment by the Rules Committee will be an amendment to our standing rules that are attached to the bottom of our bylaws. These are rules that 50% of the membership can suspend. It only takes 50% to adopt. Scott Bowen and Rolando brought an issue because their local endorsement committee has work that they need to do in the interim. And it could be several different versions and waves of endorsements that need to happen. And right now, we'd have to call it a special meeting, the SREC, a full Zoom meeting, everybody vote on it. So what this standing rule does, and Rolando's going to have 2 standing rules for his committee that he'll offer in his report that we need to approve as well. But what this does is we left in the already standing rule that it took a resolution for the party to expend resources, but we added an exemption if the local government committee offers one up, that they could put that out for an email vote, and if anyone, more than a quarter of the SREC votes it down, or any SREC member that is in the jurisdiction that they're offering the endorsement, a single SREC member in that jurisdiction cannot concur, and then it goes away. So there's a very low threshold to kill it, and it ensures that there's universal support, and this fixes their problem. Move adoption.
Adoption's been moved. Debate is open.
Point of information, is that a percent of the entire SREC or of the local government committee?
Total SREC membership.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, please vote on the standing rule. What do you need? Okay.
My only concern about this is that a lot of
Are you
emails.
speaking for or against?
I'd like to amend. Well, point of inquiry. Oh, Kristen Bentley, SD1, sorry. Were there other ways of voting that were discussed in committee?
No.
Okay. Was it, point of inquiry, were there concerns about emails going to junk mail?
No. We haven't had that.
Everyone should have texasgop.org on our
Yeah.
sender list.
Okay, here, I'll solve that. Everybody, when you get home, put texasgop.org on your safe senders list on your email. If you do not know how to do it, James will help you. Call. Okay, debate is closed. We're now going to vote on the amendment. Please indicate with your clickers. Vote 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for abstain. Voting's closed, and Margaret, 5, 4, 3, 2, Debbie, Jen, 1, and voting's closed. The motion passes, 56 ayes, 6 abstentions. Steve, I want to recognize you for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move for unanimous consent to allow Virgil to fix spelling, grammatical, and clerical errors in everything we've presented today.
Is there any objection? Hearing none. There's a second by Jill. Any objection? Hearing none. The motion's adopted. Thank you, Steve. That concludes your report, correct? Yes, it does. That's great, Steve. Thank you for the answer. Your report's done? My report's done. Perfect. Everybody, I have to leave right now to get to Dallas. So I'm going
I have
to
so many emotions now.
turn the gavel over to my trusted vice chair. Okay, don't get too excited. I'm going to be jealous. Thank you, everybody.
So we're going to get the hurt feelings reports out.
So you're on?
No, actually, if he's going to be called Don, maybe I'm LaDonna. LaDonna Dana.
There you go.
I'm kidding.
You're on.
Okay. Or La Jefa, since we're talking about border stuff. So I call upon Joe Glover to present the Legislative Priorities Committee report, please. Thank you so very much, and see if I can do this without tearing the podium apart. All right. Members of the Legislative Priorities Committee, will you please stand up? Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. This is an incredibly hardworking committee, and again, I expressed my thanks yesterday. I want to do it again today publicly. I thank all the subcommittees. Right now, we're doing most of our work in subcommittees, and these subcommittee chairs and members and our non-SREC subcommittee members have just been doing a fantastic job, and I want to thank you. So as of the end of our meeting yesterday, we have approved 128 bills that meet the criteria for our legislative priorities. 128. That is double the number that we had last year or last session. And we have not finished because bill filing ends on March 10th, and we anticipate we still have more bills to approve. So we absolutely want to thank our elected officials, our senators, and our representatives for paying attention to our legislative priorities and filing bills that meet that criteria. And I have to share with you, I told the committee yesterday, I got the nicest email from a rep the other day making a case for why our committee should approve his bill. And it was several paragraphs, and it was very polite and very kind. And I told the committee, I said, you know, folks are advocating for us to recognize them. And to me, this just shows the work that I think we've all done in showing that we are credible and that what we have to say matters and that the party matters and the voice of the grassroots matters. And so I really appreciated that email, and I appreciate the work that the committee's doing, and I want to thank them for that. We also had a great day on Thursday. We did a LP Advocacy Day at the Capitol. If you came down on Thursday for that, just stand up, because I don't think I ever got a count on that. Oh my goodness. Thanks, y'all. Tom, will you count that real quick? Did you get that? Nope, you didn't. That's all right. Speaking of Tom Novus, I want to thank you. I think you're secretary on probably just about every subcommittee almost, right? Plus just general secretary for the LP committee. So thank you for the work you do. Thank you for getting us so much info out. Thank you. You know, the other thing that I am so impressed with is how people are creative, and I appreciate the different SRECs who come up with things that work for them or ideas they have. And I just want to give Mary Jane Avery a shout out, because yesterday she walked up to me and handed me this little card that she had created for advocating. It says, SD24 Patriot Guide to Legislative Engagement. And she's got a QR code here that goes straight to our Texas GOP legislative priorities, and then how to sign up for some of our resources, how to find Texas Legislature online, and just all kinds of great information on one little card. And so if you would like this, or a copy of it, see Mary Jane, because she just, Mary Jane, where are you? There you are. Yeah, this is so cool. And so thank you, and I want to just tell you how much I appreciate that creativity. Okay, we will absolutely do that. We will do that. All right, just in terms of where we are with our 8 legislative priorities, as Chairman Rinaldi mentioned yesterday, you know, our main push on banning Democrat chairs, we had that. I think that it was successful in many ways. Maybe we didn't achieve the priority language, but here's how I believe that was successful. And James, if you'll throw some pictures up on the screen for us real quick. I just want to show you, we had over 10 buses bring folks from around the state. We had vans, we had car caravans, and I wanted to just show you if we can get the picture up.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. I had it on my end.
That's okay, no worries. We filled the House gallery. We sold, I think we almost sold out of the t-shirts, Galen, is that correct? We sold out of our Ban Democrat chair, 500 shirts. We filled the House gallery to the point that they closed the doors. They closed the doors. We had lines down the hallway around the rotunda, and then the gallery was full. And then the press conference, we had many hundreds show up. I think it was probably closer to 1,000, and you can see the picture there. And so for me, what was successful about that day is that engaged Texans showed up. And they had a great time. They were happy warriors. They had smiles on their faces. They went and visited with their representatives and their senators advocating for all our priorities. And they did it with grace and joy. And many of them were new. They had not come before. And they expressed that they want to come back. And so we're going to have other opportunities throughout the session for folks to come for some of our various priorities. But that's why I believe it was a success, because we had engaged citizens, grassroots, show up. So thank you all for helping us with that, and many of you helped organize buses, and I really appreciate that. Otherwise, I feel like we're in, as I said, we've got so many bills, I feel like we're in really pretty good shape. I'd like to see some stronger things on the border. That one's probably my most concern. I will let Debbie speak to you about election integrity. I am cautiously optimistic on banning gender modification. I will say we've got some great bills filed, both going at it from a child abuse perspective as well as going after medical doctors' licenses and insurance liability. And I think both of those avenues are good and appropriate, and we will advocate for all those bills. But I am seeing momentum around that issue that I did not see last session. And so I'm very, very encouraged about that. But we must keep it up, and we need everybody's help for that. Clearly, I think the grassroots concern about protecting our children, as reflected in 4 of our legislative priorities, have to do with protecting kids. That is a continued, sustained concern, and we just now have to fight the rest of the session to help our representatives and senators get those bills across the finish line and to the governor's desk. So that is really all I have. I wanted to be really quick. The only other quick thing I will say that we're doing a little different that we didn't do last session is we are encouraging formation of what I call grassroots teams in every House and Senate district, so that people can organize information a little bit quicker and organize advocacy at the Capitol a little bit easier. And so I'll be getting more information out about that, but that is something that we've added. So thank you all so much for your support of the legislative priorities, and hopefully next time I'm up here giving you a report, we will say that we have passed priority bills for every one of our priorities this session. Okay, thanks y'all.
Okay, I now call upon Debbie Duke to present the Election Integrity Committee report.
I'm fast, especially the last one of the day here, so, for the report. So anyway, I've got a really, really hard working group. If you're election integrity committee or on the LP election, can y'all stand up? Well, this is a very dedicated crew. We Saturday mornings, I mean, we even did one at 7 o'clock. So I appreciate your work so very much. We put a lot of hours in, and thank y'all for your hard work. So I'm not going to camp out on Eric. We've heard a lot about Eric today between resolutions and the vice chair's report, and but I want to tell y'all this is a lot of hard work that has culminated in Eric, and I just want to do a few thank yous. Okay, so of course, thank you to everybody on the committee for your work on this. Some things you may not know, and I want to thank, is TFRW hosted a panel, an informational panel on Eric at Ledge Day last month. Thank you. Thank you. And we've got 400 people, about 400 people in attendance to that. So that helps us with education. And Tony Ann's call when we're doing the update on Eric. That promotes that education and spreading that message. And we've got a wonderful work group that we've been working since June, with Tony Ann and Dana and myself and Alan Vera and Dion, and I know I'm gonna forget somebody. Kit's on there. Anyway, thank y'all so much. It just shows when we do work together, we find that topic that we can really drill down on together, what a difference we can make, because we've come a long way in this 8 or 10 months that we've been working on this topic. So to that point, we have 3 pieces of legislation, which Dana mentioned earlier. We have Bob Hall's bill that just eradicates Eric, which is HB 399, and then we have also Senator Hughes carrying 1070 for us, and then the companion to that is Jaton, and that's 2809. So a lot of teamwork, a lot of effort coming together, and thank y'all. The bottom line when it comes to Eric, I think, is that Texas wants accurate voter rolls, and that's what we want to deliver to them, is accurate voter rolls. So another thing that we made a lot of progress on is ranked choice voting. Ban ranked choice voting. Falling into that, just saying ranked choice voting. And we know that there's an active element at lobbying and element at the Capitol pushing for ranked choice voting. This is nothing we want to see in the state of Texas. It's a disaster where they have it. So the fact that Brian Hughes is carrying SB 921 is huge. It'll put us ahead of something instead of chasing behind like Eric and other topics in election integrity. So we are very much in support of SB 921 and looking forward to getting that passed. There's Tennessee and Florida already have a ban on ranked choice voting, so we want to be number 3. And in case you missed it, we had the Senate has started its committee meetings, and Andy, my vice chair, that I depend on heavily, testified, and so did Karen Marshall. Karen did. So that was awesome, and so that's SB2, and that is to the voter fraud penalty for returning it to a felony, and that's a high priority for election integrity. And it passed out of committee. So we have over 50 bills between LP and Election Integrity Committee that we've approved. So we're working hard to stay on top of all those bills. There's a lot of bad bills that we're monitoring. Right? We got, I think, 5, maybe 6 ranked choice voting in favor of, whether it's school, right, Democrat in favor of that is at city council level, school board level, primary level. They're trying to get it in wherever they can start it. So we're watching those bad bills as well. And LP, as far as what's been submitted that we know about so far, the LP bills that have been approved and we've been through are heavily focused on penalties, both criminal and civil, throughout the election law. And also, Senator Birdwell has filed SJR 35, which is a constitutional change, but it no longer if your citizen cannot vote. It's just that one sentence that they add on there as far as who's not eligible to vote. And if you're not a U.S. citizen, you're not eligible to vote. So we're supporting him on that. There are several bills concerning jurisdiction and to enforce and prosecute, including the AG. So we're monitoring those. But we've heard that I think last week it was as many as 1,200 bills are still in Ledge Council. So I'm sure they made some progress over the weekend. That's a huge number. So we know a lot of those are going to be coming our way, and we'll look at those as they come. So election integrity committee hearings begin for testimony begin on March 16th. March 8th, they will have a work meeting where they will have the Secretary of State and various people they invite to tell them what they think the hot topics are. So I think I'm pretty sure we can go listen, but testimony-wise, it won't be until March 16th. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. And I call upon Alma Jackson to present the Engagement Special Committee report, please.
Here we are again, engagement. It's an action word. We should all be engaged. Engaging others, telling about how great this party is and why we should be voting Republican. As chairman, I request a report from each of the engagement committee members right before the next SREC meeting. I give them at least a week to tell me what they have done in their districts. And I can tell you they're all working. There is so much to do. And we can't do it alone. We need each of you to be engaged. And I've said before that engagement is an action word. We're talking. That's why women are good at engagement, because we do talk. And we can bring them in. But we have to give them reasons to vote with us. That's what engagement is. And each of my committee members, you want to stand up, please? It's a small committee, but they're all working hard. Roman has been engaging at political meetings in SD17. These include Katie Meetup Group, Harris County Meeting, Christian Patriots, Waller County Patriots, and SD17 Conservative Leadership Group. He has presented the idea of starting conservative Republican clubs in high schools. We desperately need that. Maggie, good old Maggie, that lady runs. She's been setting up and hosting candidate forums in Murphy for 22 candidates concerning city council, school board, and Collin College trustee elections. She has helped the county chair in Rains County by working with precinct chairman, because the county chairman had some issues where she wasn't working as hard as she could have been. So Maggie stepped in to help, and that's great, Maggie. We need to help each other. She's been doing fundraising, promoting our legislative priorities at our state capitol. Michael Monreal, where is he? Oh, he's in the hat. Okay. He's been working with Tennyson Moreno, the chapter president for Turning Point USA at Texas State University and the Hays County Young Republicans. He's also engaging veterans. Very, very good. On a monthly basis at the American Legion and VFW posts. He keeps them updated on legislative topics that pertain to veterans and military. And he has to remain neutral. They do not allow a political division. But he's proud to announce that most of the great legislation supporting military and veterans comes from the Republican Party. And I'm proud of that.
We love our veterans. Thomas Warren, he's been engaging voters, Republican clubs, discussing legislative priorities and how voters can get involved with their legislators. He worked with a Potter County chairman to generate interest for Republicans to run for office. That's another good one. We need some good candidates. I am so tired of having to choose the lesser of the two evils. I don't know about y'all, I'm fed up with that. And it is a hard sacrifice to run for office. It's expensive, it's time consuming, it's a big sacrifice. So let's pray for more people to get up and start running, and we need moral folks to run, folks. We don't need politicians, we need statesmen. Howard has been working with Republican clubs, started in high schools across Texas, and he's done most of the research to set up some goals to get this enormous task going about getting our high schools involved with Republican politics. And the purpose is to educate our young people. We all know they're being indoctrinated. We know that. There is a current Harvard survey. It showed that the majority of the millennials are favoring socialism over capitalism, an astonishing 51% to 42%. And Americans' youth have literally been raised on the lie that capitalism is evil and that socialism is the moral alternative. We know that isn't true. I've said this before, that socialism can be compared to a nudist colony. It sounds good until you see it. No, thank you. Okay. Howard created these cards. You should have one in front of you. And while we know that each of you cannot get highly involved in this project, it's very important, and we're asking, the engagement committee is to get on here, answer a survey. If you can recommend any high school students or talk to parents, and we're looking for conservative parents, not potheads, that are going to hold meetings to teach them how to smoke pot or drink beer. We need people who care for our country and our state and our youth. And so we're asking, Howard, he's done so much research on this. This guy, it's just amazing what Howard has done. This is a huge undertaking. I can't tell you how many hours he's put into it, and I'm not trying to minimize what the other members of my committee have done. We each have talents, strengths, weaknesses. We need to apply our strengths into what we do best. And so far, Howard has really worked hard on this. And we do know that there are two Turning Point chapters in Texas, one north, one south. He has spoken to the regional directors. They're excited. That is a program that's already in place, and it's strong and it's conservative. They're teaching truth to our young people. That's what they need to hear, truth, the facts. None of this bullshit that socialism is so good. Sorry. I'm pretty fed up. Forgive me. It's going strong. We've got Howard. He wrote up a report. In fact, it's 20 pages long. This guy can write. One active parent says she plans to start at least 10 clubs before September. That's astonishing. Each of us can help. Surely you know other conservative Republicans who have kids in high school. Recommend, talk up this project. Again, go to the survey and answer it. Just do it. It's our job as members of this great party. And I don't say that sarcastically. I do believe we are the best party in this state. Absolutely. But again, Howard typed up so much. He's got so much information in this that he presented. And I'm sure it's available to each one of you if you ask him for it. He'll email it to you. He did kind of put me down. That's okay, Howard. He listed Bear County. I have guilt tripped Alma Jackson, but Mike and Karen Marshall have expressed interest. I am very interested in this. It's just very difficult to get split because I have so many other duties and I'm still traveling the entire state speaking anywhere I'm invited to on engagement. And I'm still trying to reach the Hispanics, the ones we know should be with us but have been voting or not voting, and they don't trust folks, but we are reaching them. So I'm very busy, and I'm not making excuses, Howard. It's just that I could not, I'm going to refer teenagers to you because what I'm going to do, our sources are Republican clubs. Republican clubs are supposed to be full of Republicans. Surely, if we announce what we're trying to do at these clubs, we can get some prospects. And he did tell me we need at least 3 young people to start up one club. It starts with 3. And it's a great idea. It's very much needed. We need to reach our youth. They need to hear the truth about the parties. And it's just, I'm proud of the entire engagement committee. And I thank you all. Oh, one other thing. Maggie printed up the 45 communist goals as read into the congressional record. If you want one of these are great talking points to start talking about issues and tell people why we need our young people to be mentored and taught about the difference between the parties. And by the way, they do discuss policy in Turning Point. Policy, good policy, bad policy. And the Republicans have better policies. So thank you all. Stay engaged, and we'll see y'all next June.
All right, Rolando. Call upon you to present the local government special committee report. And while we have a second while he's walking up, just an aside on Howard and the engagement project. I've already spoken to a lot of the county chairs around the state when I'm traveling, and they're very interested in participating. So if you haven't spoken to your local county chair, please do so. Some may be aware of this, some may not, but they're expressing a lot of interest to get that started.
So it's a very short report. Is it up? So while they get that on the screen, you've already approved the new standing rules for how we endorse local candidates. And the rules you approved made reference to standing rules adopted by the local government committee. And we did adopt those rules yesterday, and now you need to approve them as well. And it's just simply 2 rules. In other words, before we even forward or recommend an endorsement to the full SREC, 2 conditions have to be met. 1, they have been endorsed by their county party, and 2, they've completed the application that we provide. The application is the document that you all saw at the December meeting that I showed you. It's 1 page, very, very short. And so once they meet those 2 requirements, the local government committee will meet. You know, between now and May, we'll probably meet a couple times, possibly more, depending on how many counties endorse. And then we'll meet and vote to recommend those candidates, and then they'll be sent out to you by email for approval. So that's our report, and I assume that y'all will vote to approve the report, or approve the new standing rules.
Okay, so we're going to move to take a vote, and we'll be, until I'm new to this, unless there's any discussion on this point at this time.
I had a question for the author on this. What if the county executive committee's bylaws, and this is wholly contained within one CEC's jurisdiction, if their bylaws forbid endorsement, then they wouldn't be able to do that?
Then the county will endorse. Yeah, but we're not requiring counties to endorse. Right?
Yeah, I don't believe it supersedes local. I don't believe it would supersede the local county So, all right, so we are ready to take a vote. Any other questions, points of order, anything like that? All right, so we will use your clickers, and if you are going to vote 1 for yes, 2 for no, C for abstain. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know, I'm going fast, but we're gonna pick up the pace here a little bit.
Naomi. Over here, pointed at Chad. Voting? Oh, sure.
Yeah. Good? Okay, the vote is closing. And we have $61 for, 1 against, no abstention, so motion passes. All right, calling up on convention.
Madam Chair, just a quick moment of privilege, just to clarify something Rolando said. When you get an email vote for one of these, it's going to pass unless a quarter of the SREC objects to the endorsement. So if you don't vote and nobody voted, then that endorsement will carry forward as the committee recommended. But if a quarter of the SREC votes to not endorse, that will kill the endorsement. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other points of order? Okay. Galen Devine, please come up and give us an update on convention events and special committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I don't know how many times I'll get to say that, but he hands over the gavel, so I'm going to take advantage of that. So, I hope all of you enjoyed the popcorn. Yes? Yes? So, yes, I knew this weekend was going to be exciting. I just didn't know how exciting, right? So, would my convention committee please stand? Steve Evans, Linda Hogue, Grace Jones, Karen Marshall, Virgil Cruz, who's talking, David Wiley. Virgil's still talking, so I'm going to volunteer Virgil for lots of stuff. So, thank you, convention committee. So we are taking theme ideas, okay? That's kind of one of the things that we need to get to the chairman to decide on. So we have a few to kind of get your creative juices flowing that you can work off of and send to us, or if you love them, hate them, whatever. So currently, the RPT is using a theme of Defend Texas, Save America. So we've talked about using that theme and carrying that through to convention. We have liberty or death. I think that speaks volumes of where we are, right? We have Make America Texas Again. Yeah, well, there you go. We have Red, White, and True.
Red, right, and true.
Right, yeah. No, I said red, right, and true. Don't say that 3 times fast. They'll get us all in trouble. And we have victory or death. So if you love those, that's great. If you hate those, then you need to send us some ideas, right? Or we will pick one of these. So the process is I am taking themes until March 17th. Then we'll close it. We'll narrow it down on the committee and send those to the chairman. He'll make a final decision. And I told y'all last meeting we were working on an RFP. We've sent out the RFP to 3 different companies. So we've had questions and a site visit from one of them. We're waiting on bids back on that. So I will have that for you for the June meeting. And Oh, and then I need a favor. If you are not a member of the Grassroots Club, I would like to ask you to pretty please do that. Check that out. Check out the sign up. Give us any feedback on how sign up was. We, as a committee, we're going to be doing some special things with the Grassroots to get small donations, get clubs involved, get donors involved. And so I think that the convention is our convention, and we can sell something that we are involved in and we are partaking in, and we have signed up, we know the system, we're doing it, and it's a hard sell to get someone to do something that you're not willing to do. So if you sign up for, I don't care if it's $1 a month or, you know, or $1 million, that'd be great too. But if you would go through the Grassroots Club on the RPT website and sign up, that would be very much appreciated. And then we'll be rolling out some special things around the Grassroots heading into convention. And I believe that's it. I yield the rest of my time. She said we were going to start moving fast.
All right, thank you. And next is the special committee report on platform. Matt Patrick.
Thank you. If you're on the Platform Advocacy Committee, would you please stand up? So thank you, this group. Yep. So our new committee, I think we're making terrific progress since our last report. We are marking out bills that we are reviewing. We decided at our meeting yesterday to take a slightly different approach to LP. So we're not going to be voting on bills that we support. We're just going to be working on all of them and working with representatives and senators to push those through and helping them to understand that we will work with them as they go through to identify things that are passed that are they supported that are in the platform. I was over at the Capitol on Friday, met with about 12 different offices, not too many representatives because they were already gone for the weather event, I guess, but the staff and everyone was very receptive to working with us, so I thought that was an encouraging sign. So we're continuing our work. I want to also give a big thank you to Tom Nobis, who has helped us to put everything into history. It seems to be a recurring theme that I think we should have a new thing where we have 7 degrees of separation from Tom Nobis because everything kind of comes back to what he does. So thank you, Tom, for all your work. All right, that's my report. Thank you.
All right, we're almost done. I don't believe Morgan Graham is here. Is there anyone here to give a candidate development committee report? Great. Come on up.
No problem. Thank you. I'm sorry. Our Chairman Morgan's under the weather this weekend, so I'll give the report. We met yesterday. What we're working on, we've identified less than a dozen state rep districts where we did not have a Republican candidate. I think several of them had Libertarian candidates. So we're going to be getting that out to the SREC and county chairmen that represent parts or all of those districts for input. We won't know from up here, but we're going to get input from the grassroots up, potential candidates that we can try and recruit for those areas. We're also working on some questions for candidates. We're candidate development, but part of it, we want to find out what do the candidates really need. And it's going to vary depending on where it is in the state. What works or doesn't work in Dallas probably won't work in the Valley. So we're doing that, and we're going to compile this, and we're trying to not recreate the wheel, but look at what's already out there and be able to provide references for candidates. One of the questions we're asking is, you know, what do you wish someone would have told you before you ran? And then what's the best advice you got? And kind of go from there. But we'll be working on that. If you're in one of these, it's less than a dozen House districts. If you represent that, you'll be hearing from us. We'll be looking for input. And thank y'all.
Okay, any unfinished business before I announce something?
Madam Chair, upon the advice of our General Counsel and our Chairman, and upon the request of a number of members, I make a motion to go into a very brief executive session.
Second.
Okay.
Now, if
A
that,
motion for executive session.
if that needs to take place after the matter that you were referring to, that's fine.
Why don't we do this, since my matter is short and that may actually liberate some people from the room?
Sure.
I would like to ask Mr. Mike McCloskey to come on up. We'd like to recognize his 10 years of service to the party. We were... Go brag on this man. We received his letter saying that he has to move on to greener pastures, and so we're going to dearly miss you, but I want to give you a moment to say whatever you felt in your heart.
Thank you. This was not expected, but I do appreciate it. I have been a part of this body for 10 years, and it's very dear to my heart. I've learned that this experience I have now, when you think God has long closed doors, he can still open doors. I had the opportunity last week, much to my amazement, to be offered a position to be the new field director for Congressman John Carter. And I'm very thrilled to do that. I also, in addition to that, I have a full-time position, my day job, where I'm a corporate hotel executive for a major franchise company. So I'm doing both. And doing all of that, my bandwidth is limited on how much more I can do. And so after consultation, I just felt that it's time to give someone else the opportunity to serve this body. And so I'm doing that. But I'm still working. I actually plan on going to Washington, D.C. before this opportunity. I'm going to be in D.C. on Thursday and Friday next week. One of the things that I'm working on, which I feel is really important, is I'm meeting with the Chief of Staff of the Republican National Committee to talk about how we can win the 2024 elections nationwide. A national election is really 50 state elections. And as we know, we work very hard in this state to make our elections sound. And we know how to work. And many of you that may have been on strike force working somewhere else in another state knows this. We know how to do things like phone bank and block walk. Not all other states know that stuff. And so we send emissaries out and train them how to do that while we're helping those states. And so my goal is there are some states that need some help, and we want to do what we can to make them stronger, and that not only will we win Texas in 2024, but we'll win other states around the country. So that's one of the things that I will continue to be working on. I will continue to be supporting and working on things here in Texas as well. Of course, I now will be serving the congressman's district, and I'm very honored to do that. And I just want to say it's been a privilege to be a part of this body. Thank you.
I think you all know that's why we do this. It's not because it's glorious and celebrity-like. It's because it's hard work, but you feel that you're called to it and that you want to protect your state. And I know all of us in this room, whether we agree or not on everything, we are here to protect Texas and protect our country. So thank you all. Now that we've been asked to go into a moment of executive
Madam
session.
Chair,
Yes?
before we do that, may I have a brief announcement before we go
Sure.
into? Okay, thank you. John Carter, SB 22. Monday is Fall of the Alamo Day. At the Alamo, depending on what source you look to, about 189 men gave up their lives for the cause of freedom and liberty. The flag at the Alamo had the green, white, and red, but it said 1824 on it, which was the Constitution of 1824, which was actually patterned after our Constitution of a federal type system, which pushed the power down to the states. Santa Anna comes into power in 1832, and in 1835, he eliminated the Constitution of 1824 and instituted what was called the Seven Laws. I say all that to tell you that depending on what source you look at, probably 189 men died there. But of those 189, 11 were native-born Texans, 17 were Tejanos, 41 were from Europe, and the rest of them were immigrants from the United States. When they went into the Alamo on the 23rd of February, they knew that their lives were in jeopardy. But they stayed. Depending on what you might think, Travis did in fact draw that line in the dirt, and they did cross that line, all but one. I say this because Travis wrote, and we've heard it today already, victory or death. They committed their lives to freedom, and freedom knows no racial, ethnic, or economic boundaries. Everyone created by our God has the breath of freedom within them, and they know when it's being challenged. We are being challenged in our state and in our nation like never before. So we need to remember those words, victory or death.
All right, with that battle cry, any other comments or things that need to be brought up before we go into executive session? All right, we will go into that. We ask the guests depart. We thank you so much for attending and participating, and thank you again, and appreciate everybody's input.